Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Un's Defiance, looking out at the stars through the large window. His hands were steady on the metal railing, but his mind was racing. Today was the day that would change everything for humanity. They were about to meet aliens for the first time. The ship moved quietly through space toward the meeting point. Jake had been in the military for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations, checking systems and preparing for what was coming. Captain Lisa Carter walked up to Jake's side. She was the diplomatic officer on this mission, chosen because she was good at talking to people and staying calm under pressure. Her job was to make sure the meeting went well and that humanity made a good first impression. "Are you ready for this?" Lisa asked Jake quietly. Jake nodded. "As ready as we can be. The ship looks good, the crew is prepared, and you know what to say, the rest is up to them." The Defiance looked like a simple exploration ship from the outside. It was not very big compared to the warships back on Earth, and it appeared to be made for science missions rather than fighting. This was exactly what the humans wanted the aliens to think. 3 months ago, Earth's government had received a message from space. It came from something called the Zephyrian Collective. The message was simple. They wanted to meet the new species that had learned to travel faster than light. They suggested a meeting in empty space near a star system called Kepler-442. The Earth government had spent weeks discussing what to do. Some people wanted to send a military fleet to show strength. Others wanted to send only scientists to show they were peaceful. In the end, they decided to send the Defiance. It looked peaceful but could defend itself if needed, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Torres called out from his station. "Admiral, we're getting close to the meeting point. I'm seeing ships on the long-range sensors." Jake walked over to look at the screen. There were dots of light showing where the alien ships were waiting. Even from far away, he could see there were many of them. More than they had expected. "How many?" Jake asked. 15 ships, sir. Maybe more. They're big ones, too." Lisa frowned. "That's a lot of ships for a diplomatic meeting." The message said they would bring a small group. Chief Engineer Danny Walsh spoke up from his station. "All systems are running well, Admiral. We're ready for whatever happens." Jake nodded. Danny was a good engineer who had worked on the Defiance's special systems. If something went wrong, Danny would make sure the ship kept running. The Defiance continued toward the meeting point. As they got closer, the alien ships became clearer. On the screens, they were huge, much bigger than the human ship. They had sharp edges and looked built for war rather than exploration. Communications Officer Amy Stewart turned to face Jake. "Sir, we're getting a message from the alien fleet. They want to talk." "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The screen filled with the image of an alien creature. It had blue skin, 4 arms, and large yellow eyes. It wore what looked like a military uniform with many symbols on it. "I am Fleet Commander Vexstar of the Zephyrian Collective," the alien said. Its voice was deep and rough. "You are the humans. I expected your ship to be bigger." Lisa stepped forward. "Greetings, Fleet Commander. I am Captain Lisa Carter, representing Earth and humanity. We come in peace, hoping to build friendship between our peoples." The alien's eyes looked over the human ship on his screen. Jake could see the alien was not impressed. Vexstar seemed to think the Defiance was weak and small. "Your ship is tiny," Vexstar said. "Your species must be very new to space travel." "This is good. It will make things easier." "Easier for what?" Lisa asked, though Jake had a feeling he already knew the answer. "For your integration into the collective, of course. All species must serve the greater good. You will provide us with workers, resources, and technology. In return, we will protect you from other threats in the galaxy." The bridge of the Defiance went quiet. Jake's crew looked at each other with concern. This was not the friendly meeting they had hoped for. Lisa kept her voice calm and polite. "We appreciate the offer, Fleet Commander, but humanity values its independence. We would prefer to work together as equals, trading and sharing knowledge freely." Vexstar's large eyes narrowed. "Equals? You misunderstand your position, little human. Your species is new and weak. You have one small ship while we have many large ones. You will join the collective or you will face the consequences. Jake stepped up beside Lisa. Fleet Commander, we came here to talk, not to fight. There must be a way we can work together, without anyone having to surrender their freedom. The alien leader laughed, a harsh sound that made Jake's skin crawl. You speak of freedom as if you have a choice. Look around you, human. Count our ships, look at their size, you have no choice. On the screen, they could see the Zephyrian ships moving into position around the Defiance. They were surrounding the human vessel like wolves around a rabbit. Navigation Officer Karen Phillips whispered to Jake, Sir, they're boxing us in? 15 ships in a standard attack formation. Jake nodded slightly. The situation was getting worse quickly. He looked at Lisa, who was still trying to find a peaceful solution. Fleet Commander, Lisa said. Surely there can be some arrangement that works for everyone. Humanity has much to offer as a willing partner. You have much to offer as subjects, Vexstar replied. This conversation is over. You will surrender your ship and submit to collective authority. Any resistance will be met with force. The alien cut the communication and the screen went dark. Jake's bridge crew looked at him, waiting for orders. They were outnumbered 15-1, surrounded by warships that were each much bigger than their own vessel. Dr. Helen Brooks, the ship's science officer, spoke quietly. They completely misunderstood us. They think we're helpless because our ship looks small and simple. Jake allowed himself a small smile. That was the idea. They see what they expect to see. Amy Stewart reported from her station. Sir, the alien ships are charging their weapons. They're getting ready to fire. Jake looked around at his crew. These were good people who had trained for this moment. They knew what the Defiance really was under its simple appearance. They knew what they could do if they had to. Lisa, Jake said, try one more time. Give them a chance to back down. Lisa opened the communication channel again. Fleet Commander Vexstar, please reconsider. No one needs to get hurt today. We can find a peaceful solution. The alien's voice came back over the speakers, angry and impatient. You will surrender now, or we will take your ship by force. This is your final warning, Jake sighed. They had tried diplomacy. They had tried reasoning. The aliens had made their choice. All hands, Jake announced to his crew, battle stations. It's time to show them what human engineering can really do. The crew moved quickly to their combat positions. The Defiance might look like a simple exploration ship, but it was about to reveal its true nature. The aliens were about to learn that appearances could be very deceiving. The first shots from the Zephyrian fleet lit up the darkness of space. Heading straight for the human ship, the real battle was about to begin. The first energy blasts from the Zephyrian ships hit the Defiance's shields. The human ship shook slightly, but the crew stayed calm at their stations. Jake Morrison watched the tactical display as 15 alien warships continued their attack. Pattern, shields holding at full strength, reported Lieutenant Commander Ryan Torres from the weapons station. Their weapons are not as powerful as we expected. Lisa Carter looked confused as she watched the alien ships firing at them. I don't understand. Why are they attacking with such weak weapons? Those blasts should have destroyed a normal exploration. Ship. Dr. Helen Brooks turned from her science station. They're not trying to destroy us completely. Look at their weapon settings. They're trying to disable our engines and weapons so they can capture us alive. Jake nodded. They want to take prisoners and study our technology. They think one small human ship will tell them everything about our species. On the main screen, they could see the Zephyrian ships moving closer. Fleet Commander Vexstar's voice came over the communication system again. Human ship, your shields are stronger than expected, but you cannot win. Surrender now, and you will be treated well as prisoners of the collective. Amy Stewart monitored the alien communications. Sir, I'm picking up chatter between their ships. They're talking about how surprised they are that we have any shields at all. Chief Engineer Danny Walsh smiled from his station. They really don't know what they're dealing with. Should I start bringing the real systems online? Jake held up His hand, not yet. Let's see how far they want to push this. The Defiance continued to take fire from the alien fleet. The ship's basic defensive systems easily handled the attacks, but Jake's crew made it look like they were struggling. They wanted the aliens to think they were winning. Karen Phillips at the navigation station spoke quietly. Admiral, I'm tracking their movement patterns. They're using a standard capture formation, nothing creative or unexpected. Jake studied the tactical display. The Zephyrian ships were moving in predictable patterns like they were following a textbook. Their tactics were designed to fight enemies who use similar technology and strategies. They've never fought anyone like us, Jake realized. Look at how they're positioned. They expect us to try to run away or fight back with similar weapons? Lisa was still trying to understand the situation. But we do want to avoid fighting if possible, right? Maybe we can still find a peaceful solution, Dr. Helen Brooks shook her head. Captain, I've been studying their behavior and communications. This species believes that might makes right. They see diplomacy as weakness. The only way they'll respect us is if we prove we're stronger than they are. Another wave of energy blasts hit the Defiance. This time, the aliens increased their weapon power slightly. The human ship shook a bit more, but the shields still held. Easily, they're getting frustrated, Amy reported. I'm hearing angry voices on their channels. They expected us to surrender by now, Jake made a decision. Open a channel to their fleet, Commander. The screen showed Vexstar S face again. The alien looked annoyed that the humans were still fighting back. Fleet Commander, Jake said, this is Admiral Jake Morrison. I'm giving you one last chance to withdraw your ships and leave this system peacefully. Vexstar S forearms moved in what looked like alien laughter. You are giving me a chance? Little human, you are outnumbered 15-1? Your tiny ship cannot possibly defeat our fleet. I'm trying to save lives, Jake replied. Both yours and mine. Please reconsider. The alien commander's yellow eyes grew cold. You waste my time with your pathetic attempts at negotiation. Prepare to be boarded. My soldiers will teach you proper respect for the collective. The communication ended. Jake looked around at his crew. They had tried diplomacy until the very end. Now they had no choice but to show the aliens their mistake. Danny, Jake called to his chief engineer, begin powering up the primary systems. Karen, prepare for combat maneuvering. Ryan, get ready to show them what human weapons can really do. Danny Walsh's fingers flew over his control panel. Bringing main power online now, sir? All systems are responding perfectly. Deep inside the Defiance, machines that had been sleeping quietly began to wake up. The ship's fusion reactors increased their output dramatically. Advanced computer systems came online, analyzing the enemy ships and calculating the best ways to defeat them. The alien fleet continued their attack, but now they were preparing boarding parties. Several of their ships moved even closer to the human vessel, ready to send soldiers across the gap between ships. Sir, Amy Stewart said, they're preparing to board us. I can see their soldiers getting ready in the airlocks, Jake nodded. Let them get a little closer. We want them to see everything when we reveal what this ship really is. Dr. Helen Brooks was studying the alien ships through her instruments. Admiral, their technology is actually quite advanced, but it's all designed for fighting enemies who use similar tactics. They've never encountered adaptive systems like ours. Lisa Carter was beginning to understand. The Defiance isn't really an exploration ship, is it? Jake smiled grimly. On the outside, yes. But underneath, she's one of the most advanced warships humanity has ever built. We just made her look peaceful for this mission. Zephyrian ships were now very close to the human vessel. Their soldiers were ready to board, and their weapons were charging for a final devastating attack meant to knock out the Defiance's remaining systems. Fleet Commander Vexstar S. voice came over the speakers one more time. Human ship you have. Fought bravely for primitives, but this ends now. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance is futile. Jake looked around at his crew. They were ready. Every person on the bridge knew their job and was prepared to do it perfectly. All hands, Jake announced to the entire ship. This is the Admiral. We tried to solve this peacefully, but the Zephyrians have made their choice. It's time to show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. Danny Walsh reported from his station. All systems are online and ready, sir. We're operating at full capacity. Karen Phillips had her hands on the navigation controls. Maneuvering systems ready, Admiral. We can move faster than they can track. Ryan Torres was at the weapons station, his fingers hovering over the firing controls. Weapon systems armed and ready, sir. Target solutions locked on all enemy ships. Amy Stewart monitored the alien communications. Sir, they're counting down to their final attack. 10 seconds. Jake took a deep breath. Everything came down to this moment. The aliens thought they were about to capture a helpless human ship. Instead, they were about to learn that humanity was far more dangerous than they had imagined. 5 seconds, Amy called out. Jake looked at the main screen, where the alien ships were positioned around them like predators surrounding prey. But the predators had made a terrible mistake. They had underestimated their prey. 3 seconds. The Defiance had been designed to look weak while hiding incredible strength. Human engineers had learned from centuries of warfare that the best strategy was often to let your enemy think they were winning until the moment you struck back. 1 second, Jake gave the order that would change everything. All stations execute. Battle Plan Alpha, show them what human engineering can do. The transformation began immediately. The Defiance's outer hull plates began to slide away, revealing the true nature of the ship underneath. What had looked like a simple exploration vessel was about to become humanity's first demonstration of power to the galaxy. The transformation of the UN's Defiance began with a low humming sound that filled the bridge. Jake Morrison watched as his ship changed from a simple exploration vessel into something the galaxy had never seen before. The outer hull plates slid away smoothly, revealing advanced weapon systems underneath. What had looked like simple metal covering was actually sophisticated armor that could move and adapt. The ship's true size became apparent as hidden sections extended outward. Hull transformation complete, Danny Walsh reported from his engineering station. All weapon systems are now exposed and ready for combat. On the main screen, Jake could see the shocked faces of the Zephyrian crews as they watched the human ship change before their eyes. Their small exploration target had just become something much more dangerous. Fleet. Commander Vextar-S voice came over the communication system, filled with confusion and anger. What is this? What kind of ship are you? Jake smiled coldly. This is a human warship, Fleet Commander. You should have accepted our offer of peace. The first shots from the Defiance were precise and devastating. Ryan Torres had spent months studying alien ship designs, and he knew exactly where to hit them. The human weapons cut through the Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. Direct hit on the lead ship, Ryan reported calmly. Their shields are down and their weapons are offline. The alien ship that had been hit was spinning slowly in space, its lights flickering as its systems failed. It was not destroyed, but it was completely helpless. Dr. Helen Brooks watched her instruments with amazement. Admiral, our weapons are working even better than the simulations predicted. The alien shield technology can't handle our particle beams. The Zephyrian fleet tried to respond to the unexpected attack. Their ships turned their weapons toward the Defiance and fired with full power. Bright energy beams struck the human ship's shields. Shields holding at 98%. Danny reported, their weapons barely scratched us. Jake was not surprised. Human shield technology had been developed by studying every piece of alien technology they could find. Earth scientists had spent years preparing for this moment. Amy Stewart was monitoring the alien communications, and what she heard made her eyes wide. Sir, they're panicking. The alien crews are reporting that our power readings are off their charts. Karen Phillips maneuvered the Defiance with smooth precision. The ship moved faster than the aliens expected, dodging their attacks while positioning. For the next strike, second target acquired, Ryan announced. Firing, another Zephyrian ship was hit by the human weapons. This one lost its main engines and began drifting helplessly through space. Its crew was alive, but the ship was no longer a threat. Fleet Commander Vextar-S voice came over the speakers again. but now it sounded different. The confidence was gone, replaced by fear and confusion. This is impossible. Your ship was small and weak. How can you have weapons like this? Lisa Carter stepped forward. We tried to tell you that appearances can be deceiving, Fleet Commander. Humanity has learned to prepare for the unexpected. The remaining Zephyrian ships were trying to regroup, but they were facing technology they did not understand. Their tactics were designed for fighting enemies with similar capabilities, not for dealing with such advanced human systems. Jake studied the tactical display. The alien ships were moving in confused patterns, unsure how to fight an enemy that was so much more advanced than they had expected. Ryan, disable their communication ship, Jake ordered. I want to cut off their ability to call for help. The weapons officer targeted the ship that was broadcasting messages to other parts of the galaxy. A single precise shot destroyed its communication equipment without harming the crew. Communication ship is silent, sir, Ryan reported. They cannot send messages outside the battle area. Dr. Helen Brooks was studying the alien formations. Admiral, they're trying to use an old tactic called swarming. They want to surround us and attack from all sides at once. Jake nodded. Let them try. Karen, take us into the middle of their formation. A navigation officer looked surprised. Into the middle, sir? That will put us in the center of their attack. Trust me, Jake said. Our shields can handle anything they can throw at us, and it will put us in the perfect position to hit all of them. The Defiance moved boldly into the center of the Zephyrian formation. The alien ships immediately began firing from all directions, their energy beams lighting up space around the human vessel. Shields holding at 95%. Danny reported, their combined fire is not enough to break through our defenses. Jake smiled. This was exactly what he had hoped for. Ryan, activate the pulse weapon system. Hit them all at once. The pulse weapon was one of humanity's most advanced technologies. It sent out a wave of energy that could disable multiple targets simultaneously. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Pulse weapon charging, Ryan announced. Ready to fire in 3 seconds? The Zephyrian ships continued their attack, thinking they were finally wearing down the human defenses. They had no idea what was about to happen. Fire, Jake commanded. The pulse weapon activated, sending out a sphere of energy that expanded rapidly in all directions. When it reached the alien ships, their systems began shutting down one by one. All remaining enemy ships are disabled, Ryan reported with satisfaction. Their weapons are offline, their engines are dead, and their shields are gone. The battle was over. 15 Zephyrian warships drifted helplessly in space, their crews alive but their ships completely powerless. The human vessel sat in the middle. Of them, virtually undamaged, Amy Stewart was listening to the alien communications with growing amazement. Sir, you need to hear this. They're trying to figure out how we did it. She put the alien voices on the main speakers. The Zephyrian crews were talking frantically to each other, their voices filled with fear and confusion. How is this possible? One voice said, their ship was tiny compared to ours. Their weapons are generations ahead of anything we have, another voice replied. This species is not primitive at all. We made a terrible mistake, a third voice said. We should have listened when they offered peace. Fleet Commander Vexstar's voice came over the communication system one more time. Now he sounded completely defeated. Human ship, I request permission to speak with your commander. Jake nodded to Amy, who opened the channel. This is Admiral Morrison. What do you want to say, Fleet Commander? Vexstar paused, struggling to find words. I have made a grave error. I judged your species based on the appearance of your ship. I did not realize that humans were so advanced. We tried to tell you, Jake replied. We wanted to solve this peacefully. I understand that now, the alien commander said. What will you do with us? Jake looked around at his crew. They had won a complete victory, but they were not cruel people. Humanity had learned from its own violent history that mercy was often more powerful than destruction. We will help repair your ship so you can return home, Jake said. But first, you need to send a message to your leaders. Tell them that humanity is not as weak as they thought. Lisa Carter stepped forward. Fleet Commander, we still hope for peace between our peoples. This battle did not have to happen. I will tell my leaders about your strength, Vexstar replied. And I will tell them about your mercy? Perhaps there can be a different kind of relationship between our species. Jake nodded. That's all we ever wanted. Amy, help them get their communication systems working again. I want this message to reach the Zephyrian government as quickly as possible. As the crew began helping the disabled alien ships, Jake realized that this battle would change everything. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity was not the weak, primitive species they had thought. The age of human expansion was about to begin. The news spread across the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. Within hours of the battle, every major civilization knew about the defeat of the Zephyrian fleet. The story was simple but shocking. A single human ship had destroyed 15 alien warships without taking any serious damage. Colonel Steve Parker stood in the main lobby of the Galactic Council building on Nexus Prime, watching the chaos around him. Alien diplomats were running in all directions, their voices filled with panic and confusion. Some were shouting into communication devices, while others were having urgent meetings in small groups. Steve had arrived on Nexus Prime 3 days ago as Earth's new military representative. His job was supposed to be simple: introduce humanity to the galactic community and establish peaceful relations. Now everything had changed. A tall alien with green skin and 6 arms approached. Steve. It was Ambassador Krell from the Andromedian Federation, one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Colonel Parker, Krell said, his voice shaking slightly. We need to talk immediately. The Federation Council is calling an emergency meeting about your species. Steve nodded calmly. I'm ready to answer any questions you have, Ambassador. Krell looked around nervously. Not here. Too many people are listening. Come to my office. They walked through the crowded halls of the council building. Steve could see that many aliens were staring at him with new expressions. Before the battle, they had barely noticed him. Now they looked at him with fear and respect. In Krell's office, the Andromedian ambassador closed the door and activated a privacy screen. Colonel, we need to know the truth about your military capabilities. What happened to the Zephyrian fleet? Steve sat down in a chair that was too big for him. A single human ship defeated them in battle. The Zephyrians attacked first, and we defended ourselves. One ship? Krell's 6 arms moved in what Steve recognized as a gesture of disbelief. Our intelligence report said the Zephyrians had 15 heavy cruisers. How can one ship defeat 15? Human technology is more advanced than most people realized. Steve replied simply. We've been preparing for contact with other species for many years. Krell pulled up a holographic display showing the battle. The images had been recorded by long-range sensors and were now being studied by military experts across the galaxy. Look at this, Krell said, pointing to the display. Your ship's power output is impossible. Our best scientists say these readings must be wrong. Steve watched the recording of the Defiance transforming from an exploration vessel into a warship. The readings are correct, Ambassador. That's what human engineering can accomplish. On the other side of the galaxy, President Nancy Green was in the Oval Office on Earth, speaking to leaders from dozens of different species. The holographic projectors around her desk showed alien faces, all of them asking the same questions. President Green, said Chancellor Voss from the Centauri Republic, we need to understand your intentions. Are humans planning to expand into our territories? Nancy looked tired. She had been answering these questions for hours. We have no plans to invade anyone. We want peaceful cooperation with all species. But you have the capability to invade, pointed out Prime Minister Zara. From the Orion Syndicate. Your military technology is clearly superior to ours. Having the ability to do something doesn't mean we will do it, Nancy replied. Humans have learned that peace is more valuable than conquest. The alien leaders were not convinced. They had seen the footage of the battle, and they knew what it meant. A species that could build ships like the Defiance could potentially conquer the entire galaxy if they wanted to. Back on Nexus Prime, Steve was meeting with the full Galactic Council. The Great Chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of different species, all of them wanting answers about humanity. Fleet Commander Vexstar was there too, speaking to the council about his experience fighting the human ship. The Zephyrian commander looked different now. His confidence was gone, replaced by a deep respect for human capabilities. The human ship was unlike anything we had encountered, Vexstar told the council. Their shields absorbed our most powerful weapons without any damage. Their own weapons cut through our defenses like they were nothing. Counselor Yeth from the Rigel Consortium stood up. Fleet Commander, you are considered one of the best military leaders in the galaxy. How could you be defeated so easily? Vexstar looked uncomfortable. We underestimated them completely. Their ship appeared to be a simple exploration vessel, but it was actually a highly advanced warship. We had no idea what we were facing. The council chamber erupted in worried conversations. Representatives were talking to each other in dozens of different languages, all expressing the same concern. If the Zephyrians could be defeated so easily, what chance did anyone else have? Steve stood up to address the council. Honorable representatives, I understand your concerns, but I want to assure you that humanity seeks only peaceful relations with all species. Easy words to say, called out Senator Drex from the Vega Alliance. But your actions speak louder. You have built warships that can destroy entire fleets. We built those ships to defend ourselves, Steve replied. Earth's history has taught us that it's better to be prepared for conflict than to be caught defenseless. Dr. Helen Brooks was also on Nexus Prime, working with a team of alien scientists who were trying to understand human technology. She stood in a laboratory filled with advanced equipment, answering questions about the Defiance's capabilities. The power source alone should be impossible, said Dr. Clax, a brilliant scientist from the Tau Ceti system. Our calculations show that your ship's reactor produces more energy than some stars? Helen smiled. Human fusion technology has advanced significantly in recent years. We've learned to harness energy in ways that other species haven't discovered. But how? Asked Dr. Yuil from the Proxima Centauri colony. Our best scientists have been working on fusion power for centuries. How did you surpass us so quickly? Necessity, Helen replied. When you know you're going to meet other species, you work very hard to make sure you're ready. The alien scientists looked at each other with worry. If humans could advance so quickly, in one area, what else might they be capable of? Meanwhile, in the financial centers of the galaxy, panic was spreading through the markets. Defense contractors were seeing their stock prices rise dramatically as governments rushed to upgrade their military equipment. Trade routes were being changed to avoid areas where humans might travel. On the planet Zarian, home to the galaxy's largest arms manufacturers, CEO Blix was meeting with his board of directors. The insect-like alien was reviewing reports from across the galaxy. Every government is placing emergency orders for new weapons and shields, Blix said. They all want protection against human technology. Can we provide it? Asked one of his board members. Blix shook his head. Not yet. We don't even understand how their weapons work. It will take years of research before we can develop effective countermeasures. The board members looked at each other with concern. If the galaxy's best weapons manufacturers couldn't defend against human technology, what hope did anyone have? Back on Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison was meeting with the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The military leaders were discussing the implications of the battle and what it meant for humanity's future. The galaxy is afraid of us now, said General Patricia Hayes, the Secretary of Defense. That could be good or bad, depending on how we handle it. Jake nodded. We need to be very careful about our next moves. One wrong step could turn fear into active hostility. What about expansion? Asked Admiral Claire Scott, head of the Space Navy. We've been planning colonies for years. Should we delay those plans? No, Jake replied firmly. We can't let fear control our actions. But we need to be more careful about how we present ourselves. Every ship we send out needs to be ready for diplomatic contact. The meeting continued for hours as Earth's leaders tried to plan for a future that had changed dramatically in just a few days. The galaxy now knew that humanity was not the weak, primitive species they had thought. The question was, what would happen next? 6 months had passed since the battle that changed everything. Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new human naval base on Titan II, watching construction ships work on the massive facility. The base was 10 times larger than anything Earth had built before, designed to support humanity's growing presence in the galaxy. The moon of Titan II had been chosen carefully. It was in neutral space, far from any major alien territories, but close enough to important trade routes. The base would serve as humanity's first major foothold beyond the solar system. Jake watched as another group of alien ships approached the base. These were trade vessels from the Rigel Consortium, bringing advanced technology in exchange for human scientific knowledge. It was the third such delegation this week. Dr. Helen Brooks walked up beside Jake, carrying a datapad filled with reports. She was now Earth's chief science advisor for interstellar relations, responsible for managing the flood of alien visitors who wanted to learn about human technology. The Andromedan delegation just arrived, Helen said. They're offering to share their star map database in exchange for information about our fusion reactors. Jake nodded. What do you think? It's a good deal, Helen replied. Their star maps would save us decades of exploration time, and our fusion technology could help them solve their energy problems. The relationship between humanity and the galaxy had changed completely since the battle. Before, most aliens had ignored Earth or seen it as a curiosity. Now every major civilization wanted to establish strong ties with humanity. General Patricia Hayes materialized as a hologram beside them. She was calling from Earth, where she was dealing with an endless stream of diplomatic requests. Jake, we just received another formal request from the Zephyrin Collective, Patricia said. They want to establish a military alliance with Earth. Jake smiled slightly. The same aliens who had tried to conquer humanity 6 months ago were now asking to be their allies. What are they offering? Full access to their territory, shared intelligence about other potential threats, and a guarantee that they'll support us in any future conflicts, Patricia replied. And what do they want in return? Protection? Patricia said simply. They're worried that other species might try to attack them, thinking they're weak after their defeat. They want human ships patrolling their borders. Helen shook her head in amazement. 6 months ago, they thought we were primitives. Now they want us to protect them. The transformation had been remarkable to watch. As news of humanity's capabilities spread, the political balance of the galaxy had shifted dramatically. Species that had been enemies for centuries were now working together, united by their shared concern about human expansion. Ambassador Lisa Carter appeared on the observation deck, having just returned from another diplomatic mission. She looked tired but satisfied. How did the meeting with the Orion Syndicate go? Jake asked. Lisa sat down in one of the comfortable chairs. Better than expected. They've agreed to all our terms for the new trade agreement. They're even offering to build manufacturing facilities in human space. That's quite a change from their initial position, Helen observed. They've realized that cooperation is more profitable than confrontation, Lisa explained. Every species that has tried to work with us has benefited. Those that have remained hostile have found themselves isolated. Jake looked out at the busy space around Titan II. Ships from dozens of different species were coming and going, creating a bustling hub of interstellar activity. It was exactly what Earth's leaders had hoped for when they planned this base. Colonel Steve Parker's voice came over the communication system from Nexus Prime. Admiral, I have an update from the Galactic Council session. Go ahead, Steve, Jake replied. The Council has officially recognized Earth as a major power, Steve reported. We now have a permanent seat on the Security Committee and voting rights on all major galactic decisions. Helen whistled softly. From unknown species to major power in 6 months. That might be a galactic record. The recognition was important, but Jake knew it was just the beginning. Humanity's real test would come as they began expanding beyond their home system. The galaxy was watching to see how humans would use their newfound power. Amy Stewart walked onto the observation deck, carrying a message pad. She had been promoted to Director of Interstellar Communications and was responsible for managing the constant flow of messages between Earth and the galaxy. "Admiral, we just received a priority message from the Tau Ceti system," Amy said. "They're reporting unusual activity near their borders, ships of unknown design, possibly hostile." Jake frowned. This was the kind of situation that could test humanity's new role in galactic politics. "What kind of help are they requesting?" "They want a human ship to investigate," Amy replied. "They say they trust our technology and judgment more than anyone else's." Lisa looked surprised. The Tau Ceti government was one of the most suspicious of human intentions. "If they're asking for our help, the situation must be serious." Jake made a decision. "Contact Captain Ryan Torres on the Ons Vigilant. Tell him to prepare for an investigation mission to Tau Ceti space." Ryan Torres had been promoted to captain after the battle with the Zephyrians. His ship, the Vigilant, was one of the new class of human vessels designed specifically for interstellar operations. Like the Defiance, it could appear peaceful while hiding advanced military capabilities. Dr. Helen Brooks was studying her datapad. "Admiral, we're also getting requests for help from 3 other systems. The Proxima colonies want assistance. With a technical problem, the Vega Alliance is asking for mediation in a trade dispute, and the Centauri Republic wants to establish a joint research project." "It seems everyone wants human involvement these days," Lisa observed. Jake nodded. "That's the price of being seen as a major power. Everyone expects us to help solve their problems." The communication system activated again, this time showing President Nancy Green calling from Earth. She was in the Oval Office, surrounded by advisors and alien diplomats. "Jake, I wanted to update you on the colonial expansion program," Nancy said. "The first wave of colony ships will launch next month. 12 systems have already agreed to host human settlements. Any resistance from local populations?" Jake asked. "Quite the opposite," Nancy replied with a smile. "Most systems are competing to attract human colonists. They see us as a stabilizing influence and a source of advanced technology." General Patricia Hayes appeared in the hologram beside the president. "We're also seeing increased requests for military cooperation. 15 different species have asked to purchase human weapons or have their personnel trained by our forces." Jake considered this carefully. Selling weapons could be profitable, but it could also create new problems if those weapons were used against humanity or innocent species. "What's our policy on military sales?" he asked. "Very selective," Patricia replied. "We're only working with species that have proven track records of responsible behavior. And we're keeping our most advanced technology for ourselves." Helen looked up from her datapad. "Speaking of advanced technology, the research teams at the lunar facilities have made another breakthrough. They've developed a new type of faster-than-light drive that's twice as efficient as anything currently in use." "How long before it's ready for deployment?" Jake asked. 6 months for the first prototypes," Helen replied. "A year for full production," Jake smiled. Humanity's technological advancement was continuing at an incredible pace. The combination of alien knowledge and human innovation was producing results that exceeded everyone's expectations. Lisa Carter stood up and walked to the observation window. "Look at that," she said, pointing to a group of ships in the distance. Humans, Zephyrians, Andromedians, and Centauri ships all working together on the same construction project. Jake joined her at the window. The ships were building a new communication relay that would improve connections between distant parts of the galaxy. It was a joint project funded by multiple species but led by human engineers. 6 months ago, most of those species had never worked together, Jake observed. Now they're partners in one of the largest engineering projects in galactic history. Amy Stewart was monitoring the communication channels. "Admiral, we're getting reports from across the galaxy. Crime rates are down in systems with human presence. Trade is increasing along routes protected by human ships, and several long-standing conflicts have been resolved through human mediation. It seems humanity is having a positive impact, Helen said. Jake nodded, but he also felt the weight of responsibility. The galaxy was looking to humanity for leadership, and every decision Earth made would affect billions of lives across hundreds of worlds. We've come a long way from that first meeting with the Zephyrians, Lisa said. Back then, we were just hoping to make peaceful contact. Now we're helping to reshape galactic civilization. Jake looked out at the stars, thinking about the future. Humanity had proven it could defend itself and work with others. Now came the real challenge, using their power wisely and building a better galaxy for everyone. This is just the beginning, he said quietly. The real work starts now.